There's an eternal golden thread, twining the cosmic cores of nerds and men. This thread is made of Star Wars movies, and good Star Wars games. These are the games that let you bite into the trilogy and rip into its expanded universe. It's up to you to make sure Greedo doesn't shoot first, that Womp Rats get bullseyed, and most importantly, that the Force is strong. Get those droids to Anchorhead, it's the GT Countdown.
Number 10. Star Wars Trilogy Arcade.
It's a thoroughly linear experience, and you're lucky to find a model that doesn't have the main logo permanently burned into the screen, but the latest arcade rendition of the classic trilogy is as faithful as they come. Select which film you want to relive, and you're on a rail run through the original trilogy's greatest hits. The music is spiritually synced to each level, playing out key movie moments just like you remember them. And the rumble feedback joystick puts you in direct control, whether you're in an X-Wing racing across the surface of the Death Star, or clutching a lightsaber while squaring off against Darth Vader mano a mano.
Number 9. The Empire Strikes Back.
It's one of the few Atari 2600 classics that's still a blast to play, as you man a rebel snowspeeder against an endless parade of AT-ATs. The game is simple to learn, but filled with enough depth that some Dagobah training is needed. The Imperial Walkers are tough SOBs, and they keep coming.
Each walker must be hit a total of 48 times before it finally dies.
But you can take them out with one carefully placed shot, or nick their armor and slow them down. The more adventurous will try to shoot their heat-seeking missiles out of midair, or master the inertia of your ship to land in a valley for repairs. And when the classic Star Wars theme starts bleeping, say hello to invincibility and pure 8-bit Force goodness.
Number 8. Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy.
Using Lego toys to retell the Star Wars trilogy may sound like kid stuff, but Lego Star Wars 2 proves that the Force is indeed strong with Lego. In a galaxy far, far away constructed entirely of plastic bricks, players can rescue Lego Princess Leia or confront Lego Darth Vader. Easy to play and just as easy to enjoy, the humor may be the best part of the game, with silly pantomimed versions of some of the movie's most famous scenes, and Lego Chewie savagely popping the arms off hapless Lego Stormtroopers. If you really want to buck tradition, you can even swap out heads and body parts. Sometimes, it's best if you don't take things too seriously.
Number 7. Super Star Wars.
The Super Star Wars trilogy was arguably just as good as the movie trilogy. Well, almost. The games were slightly less cinematic, but they packed in just as much action and had a lot less awkward dialogue. All three games had solid, challenging side-scrolling levels and bitchin' 3D Mode 7 sequences that put you in control of Star Wars vehicles. Each game had its high points, like a playable bikini-clad slave Leia in Super Return of the Jedi, but the original does the best job capturing the flavor of the films and delivering the definitive 16-bit Star Wars experience.
Number 6. Star Wars Empire at War.
Star Wars Force Commander took the movies into real-time strategy territory, but despite the promise and hype behind the game, it bombed like one of Jango Fett's seismic charges. But the franchise struck back in 2006 with Star Wars Empire at War. This time, former developers of the Command & Conquer series led the charge, bringing compelling faction campaigns, stellar production values, smooth gameplay mechanics, and an amazing eye for detail. Firefights in space were rendered in cinematic 3D glory, while ground battles featured units made up of notable faces and vehicles from episodes 3 and 4. In terms of scale and control of a galactic war, Star Wars fans would be hard-pressed to find a more glorious strategy experience.
Number 5. Star Wars Battlefront 2.
From that frightened stormtrooper on the front lines to the most powerful Jedi Knight in the galaxy, no game let you experience the thrill of Star Wars like Battlefront 2. The first game brought the intergalactic infantry to life in first and third person. But the sequel forced familiar heroes into the fray, as well as pilots out of the atmosphere into the cosmos, simulating numerous epic struggles from both ends of the 6-movie saga. Battlefront was one of the first games that made you feel like a cog in the Empire's grand machine, sacrificing numerous soldier types to win each skirmish, instead of fighting for one character's secret agenda. As the narrative universe continues to expand, it's a simple pleasure to continue the classic fight on online battlefields.
Your master has arrived.
Number 4. Rogue Leader, Rogue Squadron 2.
From the trench run on the Death Star to the suicidal fight against 2 Imperial-class Star Destroyers and hundreds of fighters over Endor, Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader provided unforgettable arcade-style dogfighting for the launch of the Nintendo GameCube. Developer Factor 5 pulled off an amazing array of technical achievements for a title produced in only 9 months, matching the quality visuals and sound with intense action-focused gameplay.
Good job.
After finishing the main 11 missions, players could come back for tons of hidden levels, ships, a behind-the-scenes documentary, and even a classic Buick.
Number 3. Knights of the Old Republic.
4,000 years before a long time ago, there was the Old Republic, saturated in Sith and jammed with Jedi. KOTOR became more than a fancy acronym. It was a way of life, with its own ethics, custom lightsabers, non-linear progression, and your own little Jedi or Sith in training that was molded by the decisions you make. From the dragons of Tatooine to the canopied Wookiee home of Kashyyyk, KOTOR sent you all over the universe in a masterful tale standing toe-to-toe with the movies, and with a cast just as colorful.
You useless organic meat bag.
Number 2. TIE Fighter.
Emperor Palpatine may be creepy, but fighting for the dark side in the spaceflight sim TIE Fighter was a pretty sweet gig. Just look at the perks. You got to hang out on the Death Star, your lasers sounded really cool, and years of galactic oppression led to the development of hideously powerful ships, like the TIE Defender and the Imperial Missile Boat. Like the earlier X-Wing, the game maintained a balance of sim-like depth and arcade-style dogfighting, while one-upping its predecessor in every category, including an involved and gripping storyline. For gamers who wanted to immerse themselves personally in the Star Wars universe, TIE Fighter offered a full-fledged career.
The Empire is on the verge of success.
Number 1. Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast.
A little over 4 years after Jedi Knight was released, Kyle Katarn returned one last time to kick Stormtrooper ass. While this was certainly not the first time players had the opportunity to play as a Jedi in a video game, it was the first time you actually felt like one. From force chokes to saber throws, no other game lets you use force powers as freely as Jedi Outcast, and in the ways that you had always wanted. On top of that, the most in-depth and genuinely fun lightsaber battling to date made any prospective Jedi howl with glee, especially when aided by the realistic saber combat cheat. If that wasn't enough, they wrapped it all up with a great revenge story, set deep within expanded universe canon that featured cameos by all your favorites like Mon Mothma, Luke Skywalker, and Lando Calrissian.
There's my baby.
What more could a Star Wars nerd ask for? Nothing.